ladies in the Easter House Christmas.
Oh, okay. Now, what I will minimum, how is the spirit of Baba Jamal as we speak?
Very high, very, very high. And the entire company, after a round, so I call any the feedback the spirit is so high. So I make your chance and I'm going to about one of the Basuna and Kundi.
I know, sir. As more preparation, you are also monitoring the space near the other. Info analytics at the survey at Mountain. The survey now, info analytics the Mountain presupposes election in Yadia, Baba Jamal able to me a winning. I don't know whether you've come across that pool. And how do you take that pool?
In fact, Andra, one with friend Musa Dankwa. The catcher said, near Oya and nobody team the kind.
Why then?
One body team the kind. 1 year so big, PR. The catcher, the catcher. Near the kind, Obey Soviet on an internal election. Also, I didn't speak to any of the delegates. Nemo, you just went around interviewing people. Who does that? Meanwhile, one more very vote Nankasa delegates. Only in Konfuan can say at least you should have a number of them interview them. When we are say Anadu and Konfuan Ada was only delegated for near Abba. Now more than 37% undecided. Who does that? And it was as a result of many non-common DA exposure. You say what he did was a paid job. It has nothing to do with any Soviet. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the Soviet. And I challenge him, say, Yankupon Adam Ochina, Israel was for the good in Moas.
In that conversation with Musa Dankwano, he admits that one of delegates Nankasa, but these elections, delegates elections Nieko.
Exactly. Oh, admit he said, oh no, he did a general survey. And I dare him say, how would you do a general survey on an internal election? You do a survey for general election for general people. You are doing an internal election, and we have people who have done their own survey using the album. And Baba Jamal is more than 60% using the album. The voters who are going to vote on Saturday. So near Musa Dankwa my cashreno and the cashreno may say Easter was for on the good anymore.
I see. Obibeka said Usha Musa Dankwa for some time now. Obibeka said when it comes to a credible poster, Musa Dankwa stands tall. From the general elections or the by to that of Akwetia to that of the MPP near the Adino, he has been consistent in certain directions. If you look at his consistency for that time, does it
delegate a meeting one-on-one. And yenya institutions are using the album. Only delegate and a one-on-one. And Baba Jamal is leading. Baba Jamal is leading. I don't know where he got the answers he got from. But the fact of the matter is that Israel also people are, in fact, at a point in time, I thought maybe he thinks Israel also people, uneducated people. So he thinks he can ride over that and play the emotional game in favor of the woman. But I'm telling him, why a live video, we are on a Facebook, and the result at home, that the result is for a general election. Me challenging you here, and I do father, and only was the delegate for Alba. Now delegate, over 30%, 37%, are undecided. Meaning, sir, the 30%, 37%, may likely go either way, which will result to the winning. Any lot on our which are. Any lot on which I say, or choice number.
Okay. And for you don't put any credence on the Musa Danquah Diabano. You don't put any credence.
And I challenge him, sir, pass. Unfund is sample, the first method that we use here. Unfund to them will be Unfund to them will be and I'm telling you, sir, Musa Danquah or Boni Tribunal or yeah. There's no any scientific research or nothing. So here in our camp, our spirit is very high, knowing very well our relationship with the people, knowing very well what they told us.
You don't expect anything different from what they've told you.
Look, I told you, sir, Musa Danquah is the was for good and
but Misa was say only the late Sir John was say in every election, especially when it comes to delegates, you should fear them.
Yes.
You don't fear delegates.
Musa Danquah should also fear delegates. Also should fear delegates.
Say every on the Obeka say why consistent for so say MPP
so I am telling you, sir, why consistent. I am telling you, sir, I have done a specific job on the delegates.
Okay.
And the results is different from what Musa Danquah. And Musa Danquah didn't do anything. I dare him. He didn't do anything. But tonight, decided to do something. One year I'm telling you, 1 year
I see. Inti watchna inshallah say yekoto abanona say we which percentage are you expecting to get if you can predict your
I am not targeting any percentage. I am targeting His Excellency Baba Jamal to emerge as the candidate of the NDC in Iowa constituency.
Okay. Baba Alhaji Mamenye Umuna Nyankopon ya adom a watchna so we see modalities bibia okay the processes are mbefem the processes are part in area to mo camp money any issues with it, right?
No, any issues issues are you want ya resima and ya call police headquarters ya meeting has been addressed and you see an aspect to begin her eda ya ko nyamia to mo chima Yankupon Ebekasa.
Alhaji Mamina was in Anope. Enti Alhaji Baba Alhaji Ekasa Edema Baba Jamal and I would say Yenino Twitwi and Komono Musa Danquah Nipos or the ba ye ni ade and afi watch the mono was your modi the Musa Danquah and the bandi. Okay, bibia.
My fan said be Tuesday name we be 6-7. Man kebi anshim ene me man me yere wo fie. Let's say yes obi friend wa bonti. Jimi pi na me ba na say me compound no so na say two gentlemen. Minimum da ewura yen mo bi main gate na ewura. To me approach you and be some said assembly. And I'm say I'm under arrest. And say under arrest for what? I'm say young call you do station ya omobeka nyamaya. I'm say there be Ghana match say ye kase you are under arrest. How I was say Cambodia why in the language you understand.
Yes.
See one country me almost your one country me yes me yi phone na my or me shim phone if me say omo fi me phone mama nya corner omo bundle me de me share car mo na ɔmo de me kɔɛ de me kɔ chinchin bɛyɛ 5-6 police stations nti anadwo no the bottom line is na ɔmo mpɛ sɛ party for no crowd who baby I demeko and I said Ubi abi who baby a demeko. But eventually the actually amu who baby a deme buy. Now if you said then my I must say offensive misconduct.
Offensive misconduct.
Yes.
And also
I don't even know. Now misconduct there and what is the fact of that misconduct now? Among person be continue nyame no de me catch your station say man can amaya enya dia me cooperate with what you people are doing and I see adi ba ko be say honorable Felix na Koyo say I've spoken against her on platform tina am about in that stuff.
The member of parliament me say according to the CID you know or say the member of parliament and never make you official complaint say what can send be a Tiano on a WhatsApp platform? Is that what the case is?
Exactly. Until Okasa, I don't know who say, if that's the case there, that one day I'll cooperate with you people. Until you be say, no movie, almost some will be detaining me. Detain me for this kind of complaint. Then the party for now and Chamom, or more agitated, and Jom who say, tension, banana, no, yeah, and more. Omuja ben say menko na ade chia na yasaba
the comments are we here on that platform was to the effect that you were threatening the life of the member of parliament. Is that the case?
That is not, that is fallacy. It's a lie. Na koyo honorable Felix na koyo your sister Penny or your minia se mendona nkame se madaje mbibia fanye adwuma emane mambe MP na mianim ne kwani ebia anope MP na nkasa 80 enye ne sa se yetana na se yempe na sem no kre na ye ka che na nyamianim ne kwani MP no mpe no kre ompe no kre me amene o ka say ompe no kre me amene o ka say I was in charge of presidential and parliamentary election in my electoral area. I used 44 men and women as polling agents. Yeah, we need 21 out of our 22 polling stations for our MP. Sani pay nipa obetimi threaten MP ana. Inti yaba power. Ememu 44 ya moye ejuma together with the branch executives, you know. Where are the benefits for them? We are asking of the benefits. In the benefit na yebis are not a threat na said. We are asking them, say, where are the benefits? Slot for the police, for the immigration. That's what we are hearing. As a communicator of the party, I will never shut up. I will never shut up. If asking for accountability means threat there, so be it. Inti say I bet me and be Eric is too much, and I won't shut up. Only I won't shut up. Ubisa Ubia or Kasa or said 12 years I did this to how I couldn't see. The beer I was criticizing her. I found out say the kind of leadership she was giving Kaswa people, no, it wasn't the best. And that is why I was criticizing how I couldn't see, not because me kind and I have anything personal with her. So what is different from my MP? That's why I said I'm do bar office, but doesn't mean I'll give you a blue check. Our MP friend now on Kaswana baby sa party for no. So friend MP no be file corner. Bisa coordinators and self friend MP no be file corner. Bisa branch people, the people who make sure say we work day and night, you know. Ask them say if you call our member of parliament, will she pick your call? She will not. She will not pick your call. But rather what they will do is that they will send some few people to come on our platform to rather come and insult us. Go home. Enti nanana ni a course no. Your MP will be threatened no. MP menene chat every now and then. Call now friend na onfa. Indi se me pese me ka bibi kire na. Me ka kire no on the chat mu. Indi me kwa threaten no before Friday. If that was the case, I didn't know a complaint or police station. When we went to the police station, almost say Nipo Bay case, they don't want to reveal the person's identity. And she say a threat. Somebody has threatened your life. Now call your case, will you hide your identity before going to make the case? Kaswa for we are in this community before our MP she even came. Obi Obeba Kaswa has lead the youth of Kaswa. Now on Fano Kore, Emma Meye Jumano, and not the young Chemao. For that one, I can assure the whole world, say young Chemao. If you want to lead the people of Kaswa, you must be first and foremost honest with the people. Until they share, me krana me ye many year Jumadin, Edema MP na me friend on fa. How much more the ordinary person or community ne a friend or befa. Until none attention and teacher, no. Bibia NC and yes, no.
Okay,
our MP doesn't want to be accountable. That is all.
The MP doesn't want to be accountable.
Exactly. If you want to be accountable, where the people are asking for accountability, why do you chase them with police? Why do you chase them with police? Me, I am part of the regional communication team member. Well, regional communication team member, and I know Kasano Pawi. And he said, oh, Mimpuna me Kasana Obechemia. What about the ordinary party people?
But you know the constituency now, woman, in as much as we are regional communication team member, you also belong to a constituency led by the constituency chairman. In this issue, what try to get the attention of the constituency chairman to even report the issue to Wayne AC?
I said, na AC, no. Our once constituency, constituency chairman or MP na sideline, constituency secretary or MP na sideline, constituency organizer or MP na sideline, constituency women organizer or MP na sideline, and no what you shoot deputy secretary. So no bit me a argument watching Timobi answer near DMC no. And MP no on one fa obia anye bibia even the constituency chairman no confane nya hwe and yen tna ho emane say party no mayen entra ho mane say party ni mayen we will speak truth to power. You see the chairman the secretary or organizer or offer any of them and command me the same common on the cultural. Our MP doesn't want to be accountable, and that is a fact. Ubianim. If you want to, when you then we're pushing for call for accountability there, they have to sideline you. I'm not the first person, I'm the third person I arrested. Daniel Bassi, my brother, you arrested no a month or two ago. For also you arrested no, and I say me the ababe toso. Until you say me pe and I and our constituency for 90. Yesterday, all the constituency executives were at the regional police command. See, they were there to talk to the regional commander. And when we went there, police for no omo pese omo ye assemble katasi muamua so but omo ye sa emwa say democracy na ye no democracy ye mfetu ye de ano ene kasa. Nti se obi be kasa 1 2 na say police for e wo ye WhatsApp platform so na regional police command mo beba abechi obi for a whole political platform comment or ye on NDC platform so na police for regional police command mo be there take useless orders about those kind of arrest na ye koya na say ye buy.
And Eric, that is MPP. So I agree. If the MP doesn't want to be accountable, meaning from where you sit, you may not want to repeat him as an MP again. Would that be the
it is end? Not. It is not her per se. It is not her per se. And you lead the beer now office now. Nipa na do to office no. Inya oso mfaso no na oso mfaso office one any day. It is not me na meka say I don't want her to continue. Say a mandate be and you are not delivering on the mandate. Then what is the reason I would also continue at our office? I was campaigning against our concern for so many years, and not because I'm a kind of medical catcher. And he said, my nephew office now will be for Fraba. Sanipana Wabanon so no. I must make sure say I hold her to the same fire of accountability. Slot up you say your farmer for police, will claim you buy 1 year, your farmer for police, your farmer for immigration, your farmer for fire near Kekahon. Kaswa boys said there were ɛno na mebisa me MP a ɔmpɛ sɛ ɔbɛyɛ accountable no or ɔpɛ sɛ ɔdivert attention to ɔkyekyeɛ but no na mu yɛ abɛmu. We will continue to ask of the benefit that the youth rise up and followed her to make sure say you be making the MP no you be bisa no benefit no when find no there no state institution, not even BNI, not even Ghana military can stop us from asking those legitimate questions. One say yen MP no say una obeya wadwin say ohun say wa no ye den kakra na ye pese ye ma obibi na okawa no tum. Una wa no ye den kakra de ye me fan say be 4 months ni na MP ese opese me ko school. Sana ni nyina no just to shut me up. But you see, it is not about me ninya me menya. It is about the youth of Kaswa. Inti me oma me billions. Na me who say youth no, you are neglecting them. It is not about me personally what I will get, but it's about you working for the community. Inti MP no onhwe ni nyoma oye no onye ni ye. Na oye nyoma ye a ebeboa ye na obi antan no. She should just be accountable to the people, and nobody will have issues with her. But when I say, on your benefits, na ye kaswa for the no, omo de be call different places. No ma kachira kaswa you say, omo anko school, omo need certificate there, and only enchema home. For that one, I can assure her this morning, say we will continue to agitate, we will continue to fight for the youth of this community.
Eric, let's also put on record. I try to see a friend now, but we're switching the phone off, so we are not getting through to her. And you ask Eric. Thank you very so much for making time with us this morning.
Welcome, senior.
And King Kwabena Eric, and I would say Nenkano, you're quite no PMO police station near the other, and I would say Yenino Edi Sa and Pomoy. Ebusia. Enra, there was a press conference from the minority, Ekasai, Mami Emma was winty minority, especially the committee on agriculture and cocoa affairs committee. No, omuye press conference. Ningina ayenkomo e charge yesi yedin wa ha on the cocoa farmers ahodo ene omusika akwakokem. I be why ready. The press conference from the minority.
Sad situation, and only the Almighty God knows how many of them have passed on to glory as a result of the terrible ordeal they have been subjected to. We have heard from the Chief Executive of Cocoa Board trying to assign several reasons why farmers cannot be paid. Among the reasons was that the previous administration defaulted in the payment of the syndicated loan contracted for the 2023-2024 cocoa season, and that the current administration could no longer access the facility. I was surprised that it is a sad situation, and only the Almighty God knows how many of them have passed on to glory as a result of the terrible ordeal they have been subjected to. We have heard from the Chief Executive of Cocoa Board trying to assign several reasons why farmers cannot be paid. Among the reasons was that the previous administration defaulted in the payment of the syndicated loan contracted for the 2023-2024 cocoa season, and that the current administration could no longer access the facility. I was surprised that this was coming from the Chief Executive. It is absolutely untrue. It is totally false. For your information, ladies and gentlemen, Ghana started the syndicated loan in 1993, and at the close of the 2023-2024 cocoa season, which was the last syndicated cocoa year, Ghana has never defaulted in the repayment of the loan. So if the Chief Executive has any evidence that Cocoa Board has defaulted, it should provide that evidence. You can go to him let him provide the evidence. How much was defaulted and how much remains outstanding. The Cocoa Board Chief Executive should provide that. Another reason he assigned is the fall in the international price of cocoa. Yes, the prices have fallen, but this is not the first time price has fallen. When the NPP assumed office in January 2017, world market price had dropped from 3,000 United States dollars per ton in June 2016 to 1,800 United States dollars per ton, barely enough to pay the cocoa farmer. Ladies and gentlemen, when a government is faced with this challenge, the solution is not about rhetoric. It is not about who makes the most noise in public, and it is certainly not about excuses. It is about visionary, level-headed leadership with experience and immersed in critical thinking and not politicizing the issue. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his MPP government found ways to cushion cocoa farmers when prices fell, and we expect the Mahama and his NDC government to do the same. Again, the chief executive talked about contract rollovers. Ladies and gentlemen, contract rollovers are standard industry practice. It is not the first time that cocoa contracts are being rolled over. And indeed, when the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo inherited the governance of this country in 2017, he inherited contract rollover of 190,208 metric tons, and no such noise was made. The real problem, ladies and gentlemen, is the politicization of Cocoa Board, including its sales strategy. For many years, Cocoa Board under various governments sold about 70% of Ghana's cocoa in advance, what we refer to as forward sales. The balance was kept to take advantage of the market rallies as spot sales. This system guaranteed close to actual prices projection, protected farmers when world market prices fall, since the produce had been sold at relatively higher prices, and also allowed Cocoa Board to pay farmers on time. While in opposition, the NDC strongly criticized and bastardized this policy, turning it into a political issue. After coming into office, the NDC reversed the policy, and only about 30% of the projected crop was sold forward this 2025-2026 crop year. They were daydreaming and thinking that prices will remain high, and were selling at spot until prices started tumbling. Another main cause is the internal struggle within Cocoa Board. There is a serious leadership conflict between the chief executive of Cocoa Board and the managing director of Cocoa Marketing Company. This conflict has disrupted work of sales and pricing committee, what is known in Cocoa Board as Sales Executive Committee. And because of this internal fighting, critical decisions were either delayed or poorly executed. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, you will recall that in the run-up to the December 7th presidential and parliamentary elections, Honorable Dr. Eric Opoku, the then ranking member for Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs Committee of Parliament, now Minister for Food and Agriculture, and Honorable Dr. Kesiel Atuforsen, the minority leader then, now Minister for Finance, informed Ghanaians that cocoa farmers were being shortchanged and cheated big time by the then administration. Honorable Eric Opoku, on various campaign platforms, including a meeting with cocoa farmers at Adia Swaba in the Hafo region, consistently promised cocoa farmers a producer price of 6,000 Ghana cedis per bag. His comrade in tirades, Honorable Atuforsen, on the other hand, promised to pay cocoa farmers 7,000 cedis per bag if the NDC was helped to win power. Power they now have. Today, the farm gate price for a 64-kilo bag of cocoa is 3,625, far less than what was promised the farmer. To add salt to injury, farmers are being denied payment for the cocoa they have with sweat and pain labored to produce. Having woefully failed to fulfill their promise of 6,000 Ghana cedis per bag, we now learn that President Mahama and his NDC government plan to reduce the prevailing producer price of 3,625 cedis per bag so as to be able to pay the farmer. Perish that thought. And it must be a wishful thinking. Otherwise, it would amount to the murder of all betrayal of trust with the cocoa farmer. This has never happened in the history of this country. NDC, in their 2024 manifesto, those of you who have copies, you can go to page 41, paragraph 3121. They promise to ensure the timely release of funds for the purchase of cocoa beans to prevent smuggling. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we witnessing now? Instead of preventing smuggling, the NDC government has rather promoted suffering of our hard-working cocoa farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, Cocoa Board cannot complain of shortage of cash. According to the 2026 government's budget statement and economic policy, cocoa export receipts amounted to 2.56 billion United States dollars. And if you look at the exchange rate, you can multiply that by 2.56. You are talking about something close to 30 billion. So they cannot complain about shortage of cash. The NDC, again, in their manifesto, page 41, the same page 41, they promise, and I quote, to prioritize investment in cocoa production over wasteful administrative expenditure to improve the livelihood of cocoa farmers, unquote. But what do we see today? They have now come to do the opposite. Since assuming office in January 2025, the new administration has engaged in wanton transfers of directors, deputy directors, and managers, whilst leapfrogging promotion of subordinates to take over those posts without any prudence, resulting in the payment of several millions of cedis for transfers and duplication of high-level positions. Today, the former director of Cocoa Clinic, he has been transferred to the main house, Cocoa House. That is where his office is. All what he does is to read newspapers. He has no role to play. A whole medical director. That is what the cocoa industry has been turned to. What is more wasteful and callous than this, when the preamble of the new administration on assuming office was that all was not well with Cocoa Board. Farmers have tended their farms through harsh weather. They have spent huge resources to control pests and diseases. They have toiled to harvest their farms and sold it to the government in good faith. Yet, months later, they are still waiting for weeks on end to be paid. Is this the resetting which was promised the good people of Ghana, or the reversing of the cocoa industry? Farmers are asking. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it is not only the poor farmer who is suffering. The failings of government and Cocoa Board are also hurting the cocoa buying companies, that is the LBCs, and transporters, especially the indigenous companies and local enterprises. By delaying in repayment of cocoa taken over from the LBCs, these business and investments are at risk. They have their working capitals locked up, their progress hindered, and financing confidence undermined. Contrary to what the NDC preached pre-election time to promote indigenous business and investments, they have rather reset to kill indigenous companies, businesses, and enterprises in the cocoa industry. We call on government and cocoa board to pay our cocoa farmers immediately for all cocoa beans sold and to be sold to save the cocoa industry from slipping back to days of despondency and loss of interest. We demand an apology from government and cocoa board for this gross dereliction of duty. Cocoa board must reimburse the LBCs of all outstanding repayments of cocoa purchased and delivered, and must also ensure the prompt repayment of subsequent deliveries and CTORs to avoid the recurrence of this despicable situation in the future. We demand that our cherished cocoa farmers are treated better and with dignity than what we are seeing now. Cocoa farmers are not beggars. Paying cocoa farmers promptly is not a favor, it is an obligation. We thank you.
Yeah. Press conference and na wone eyeye na afi omodi nsem no etudwa. Let me also remind you, say, press conference as this was after say the committee, you know, etumi ako shia the cocoa board ababeshia committee no more to me